Hello and welcome, my name is Kyle for the win and welcome to another Call of Duty Modern Warfare video. Today we are doing our week 1 review of the beta and we're going to do the good, bad, and the ugly like we do with all of our reviews, but we're going to do a full good, bad, and ugly after this weekend is over. But for now, we're going to do a week 1 review of the beta and talk about the goods, the bads, and the uglies. And yeah, this is not going to be the most positive video, unfortunately. There's a few good things that I want to definitely talk about before we jump into the bads and the ugly, but yeah, unfortunately there's quite a few bads, quite a few uglies. Just, you know, this is a constructive criticism video. Hopefully this can get to Infinity Ward. If it doesn't, it's fine. This is just for you guys to know what you're getting into when it comes to the beta this weekend and at its current state. Now, if I do think of things as the video goes on, I will definitely add them in, but for now, the things on my list that I could think of right now are what I'm going to talk about, obviously, in this video. So let's start off with the good, because let's start off the video with a positive note before the video pretty much takes a turn for the worst, or basically turns really negative. So let's start off with the first good, which is the graphics. The graphics in this game are extremely good. I love the fact that the gun game feels very immersive, and I really like that addition. Like, the graphics are just fantastic, and you can definitely tell that it's a new engine that they worked extremely hard on, and that's a very good thing. Graphics are huge for games, in my opinion, because if a game has bad graphics, not only is it not fun to look at, but it's also really not fun to play. So the graphics in the game are incredible, and I think that is a very good thing. Next, we have the weapon feel. Now, this isn't talking about the sprint out speeds, which we'll get to a little bit later, but the feel of the weapons, the look of the weapons, the gunsmith option, everything like that is absolutely amazing, and I love the weapons in this game. I love how they act, how they feel, and I think it's just a really cool addition to the game. And that's important as well. I mean, it is a first-person Call of Duty game, so the gun feel is pretty much everything. So I'm really happy that the weapons feel really good and they feel almost realistic, and I love that fact of the game. The next and final good is the streaks. Now, the streaks are pretty unique, pretty fun, and pretty cool. I love the Harrier. The Harrier is actually an amazing streak, and I think one of the gameplays in this video will be that Harrier gameplay, which you'll see. And the Harrier is an awesome streak, so highly recommend that streak. We also have the Pavlo. We also have the Predator missile. And I love the streaks in this game. They're really good, and they're really awesome, and I'm happy to see some of these classic kill streaks that we all know and love returning into the game. So that's awesome. And unfortunately, that is the last good. So let's go ahead and jump into the bads. Now, starting off here with the bads, the weapon balance is very bad in this game. The snipers are extremely overpowered still, even though they're trying to make it a very realistic shooter. You don't have to hit people really in any upper mass and they'll die. For example, I had a shot on one of the maps where I hit somebody in the knee and they died. So that just can't happen with a sniper rifle. Snipers are supposed to be used from long range only, and the fact of the matter, part of me, is that snipers are way too good for this game, and they definitely need to be toned down a bit. Now let's talk about the guns that definitely need to be buffed quite a bit. The SMGs and the shotguns are useless. I've ran around with the MP7, the AUG, the MP5, and I get destroyed by people using assault rifles like the M4A1, the AK-47, which I made a video on yesterday, the M13, just very powerful guns, and honestly, using an SMG in this game is useless because of the fact that they're just too weak and they do not compete. So they definitely need to be buffed. Shotguns are terrible in this game. Now, I don't want shotguns to be super overpowered where they blast you away and are just super annoying, but they do, or they should have, the range that they're good for. And shotguns suck in this game. I've ran around with the 725 or whatever that shotgun's called. I've ran around with the Model 680, and I've hit people point blank range where a shotgun should always kill somebody, and they didn't die. And it's extremely frustrating, so those need to be buffed a ton. Some extremely overpowered weapons that definitely need to be nerfed as well is the M4A1. The M4A1 is by far the best assault rifle in the game. The amount of random, weird, just stupid gunfights I've gotten in against an M4A1 are ridiculous, and it's extremely frustrating to get killed so quickly by a gun and not even stand a chance because of the fact that the weapon balance is so iffy. But again, this is a beta, and I'm not going to try and get too aggressive or disrespectful to the developers, but the weapon balance definitely needs to be changed. Thank goodness we have a beta so they can tweak guns, make them better, make them worse, and stuff like that, because this game definitely needs that to happen because it is a nightmare. The weapon balance is a nightmare in this game, and for me, that is a huge part of Call of Duty. I like being able to run around with every single weapon in the game and have fun with it. That's why I love Black Ops 4 so much, why I love Black Ops 3 so much, why I love World War II quite a bit. Those games had pretty good weapon balance, or it was good enough for me to handle. And honestly, Modern Warfare, the weapon balance is not good enough for me to handle. So weapon balance is definitely something that definitely needs to be tweaked and changed because it is definitely a big factor when it comes to the enjoyment of a game. So that is one of my bads. The second bad I have is the maps. Unfortunately, these maps aren't very good. For example, Garvana Raid or whatever that map is called. Terrible map. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It is the most campiest map I have ever played in Call of Duty history. It makes Stonehaven look like Nuketown. I'm telling you, that map is so campy. People just sit in corners. People just sit in windows and buildings, mounting on the side, aiming down sights, and it is extremely, extremely frustrating. The only two maps I really, really enjoy in this game consistently are Gunrunner and Hackney Yard. Those maps are really good. Well, they're not really good, but they're good enough to play, and they're good enough for me to enjoy. The amount of good gameplays I've gotten on those two maps kind of destroy the other maps. I mean, Azir Cave is okay, but the streaks are useless on it. The verticality is a little bit too much, and that is not very good. Maps are key to Call of Duty, as you guys all well know, so having bad maps is really not the best. I didn't want to put the maps in ugly because there have been worse maps in Call of Duty, but the maps aren't very good, and I think that they're basically made for campers. I mean, the verticality, the windows, the corners you can sit in, it's an extremely campy map layout and map style, and I don't enjoy campy maps. Those are my two bads. Now let's go ahead and jump into the uglies. Now this is probably going to be the most aggressive part of video as well as take up the most time in the video. So my first ugly is the game is extremely campy. It is the most campiest COD I have ever played ever. Ghosts, again, Ghost looks good compared to the campiness in this game. People just sit in corners, aim down sight, mount on windows, sit on the top parts of buildings and just aim and don't move and sit in corners, and it is extremely frustrating. It makes rushing almost impossible, and that is not fun. For me, when I was playing the beta, thank goodness I wasn't streaming because I had some few choice words when I was playing the game, and I don't like campy CODs. I never have, I never will. As you guys know me, I am an extremely heavy rush player. Rushing is super, super fun, super important, and that's how I have fun in Call of Duty. I don't like sitting in a corner, aiming down sight, waiting for somebody to walk by. I get extremely bored and impatient, and I want to get a ton of kills, go on a ton of streaks, but this game prevents me from doing that. Now, these gameplays in the background are one and a few. Sometimes I've gotten in lucky lobbies where I've been able to do what you're seeing in the gameplays, and other times, actually 9 times out of 10, I get in lobbies where there's people just camping in the back of the map, just aiming down sights only, getting destroyed, and it's super, super annoying, super, super frustrating. And for the first time ever while I've been on this channel, I've thought about switching over to a different game. So I really hope that they tweak some of the campy things. And instead of just going on a rant, I'm going to tell how you can fix things. Because with my other previous reviews, I always talked about how you can fix these issues. Number 1, make Ghost an only while moving perk. End of story. That is how it should be. There should be no in between. Ghost should not be a perk for campers. It should be a perk for rushers who want to stay off the minimap to get a ton of kills. It's been that way in Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, and Black Ops 4, and it is an extremely important thing to the game. If you don't have that, it makes the game really campy, really slow, and extremely frustrating, because normally you can see campers who are sitting in corners because they have a red dot, and you can find them and destroy them. So that is one thing I would fix with one of the things I would fix to help with the game being campy. Next, buff the SMGs, buff the shotguns. Make people rewarded for rushing. Not having good SMGs or good shotguns makes rushing very hard, if not impossible. So that is something that they need to change. And I was talk about another ugly that is also can be a fix for the game being extremely campy. The sprint out times are horrible in this game. They are terrible, terrible, terrible. When you run with your gun, if you don't have your sights up by the time you meet an enemy, you will die 9 times out of 10. I have gotten lucky before, but 9 times out of 10, if you are running with your weapon, you will die. If you get caught in that animation where you're running, you will die. Now, in most Call of Duty games, that will happen anyways, but in this game, it seems even worse. For, like, so many times, I'd be sprinting, I'd get caught in a gunfight, and normally, sometimes, in other Call of Duty games, I can just aim from the hip and get those kills and not have to worry about it. But in this game, the sprint out times are terrible, and that's why people don't rush. People would rather sit behind some cover, aim down sights so that they don't have to worry about getting killed, because rushing is very, very hard in this game, and the sprint out speeds make that even worse. So the really bad sprint out times is definitely a big ugly for me. It can definitely ruin the game, and it honestly has ruined, for the most part, the beta for me. The sprint out times have to be tweaked. They have to be changed because it promotes a campy playstyle. So if they implement some of the changes that I said here, the game will definitely be more flowy. People will rush a lot more. People will be obligated to rush more, because if Ghost shows them on the minimap, then they'll be screwed. And another ugly that I wanted to add really quick is no minimap. Now, they did put a minimap in, which I appreciate, but it's kind of useless because they don't show you where the enemies are firing from, which I don't really understand. I mean, why have the minimap if you're not going to show us where the enemies are shooting from? Now, I get that it's also used for knowing where your teammates are, where your teammates just died, and it's also helpful with the UAV and knowing where enemy streaks are, but we need to know where the enemies are shooting at. Just make the minimap the standard minimap from Call of Duty. I understand why you don't want a minimap, because you want to make the game more realistic, but it needs to be in the game. Just in core, realism mode, hardcore, fine. But in the regular standard playlist, please, please, please add a minimap. It is a crutch for every Call of Duty player because it's been in every Call of Duty game for years and years and years. And coming away from that, again, promotes a campy playstyle, rewards players for camping, and it's not fun. And people are required to use UAVs now. In previous Call of Duty games, the minimap, you wouldn't have to use a UAV, but in this game, you have to use a UAV if you want to know where enemies are. So please get rid of them, put the minimap in the game, and show where enemies are firing, because it'll just make the game even less campy. And last but not least, my final ugly. Hopefully I haven't been talking too long. Normally these reviews go a little bit long. Alright, we've been talking for a little bit too long, so I'm going to make sure I talk about skill-based matchmaking really quick. Skill-based matchmaking is an ugly, ugly thing in Call of Duty. It is by far the worst thing ever, in my opinion. I don't have fun with skill-based matchmaking CODs. I never have. For example, the last Call of Duty game, I quit halfway through the year. Actually, earlier than that. Like, I played a couple months of it, which sounds crazy, but it's true. Advanced Warfare had the thickest skill-based matchmaking out of any Call of Duty game ever, and I can't stand that. I don't like sweating and trying hard every single second. I'd rather have scrub-based matchmaking, to be completely honest with you. Please get rid of skill-based matchmaking. It is not fun for anybody. It's boring. It requires something bad, which is called reverse boosting, where you just kill yourself constantly, lower your KD as low as it will go, so that you can play against really bad players. Skill-based matchmaking is not good for Call of Duty, but yet they continue putting it in the game. Please get rid of skill-based matchmaking. It is not fun. I don't like sweating 24/7, and it also kind of is the reason why the game is so campy. I'm about a 2.5 KD player. I play against 2.5 KD players, and that's not fun. I prefer to play against noobs, obviously, because I destroy them, and that makes it fun. Now, I know you want to make the noobs better, or make it not as worse for them, but this game is going to be terrible for them anyway, because the game is different from every Call of Duty in general. The gunplay is different, the just everything is different with Modern Warfare. It's not like your normal Call of Duty game, so they need to get rid of skill-based matchmaking or the game will not be fun, and I don't think I can play this game all year. Basically, to conclude this video, this game needs a lot of help. I hope I wasn't too aggressive. Hopefully, some of my constructive criticism worked, but, you know, at this game's current state, I can't see myself playing this game all year. I'm going to try my absolute best. I'm going to try and get full videos for you guys, a ton of content on this game, but again, like usual, if I don't enjoy a game, I will not play it. So hopefully they implement some of the changes that I asked for. If they don't, that's fine, but again, this game needs a lot of help, and I think with the community's voice, we've been very, very vocal about how we need these certain things changed, so I'm sure they'll go in and fix everything. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for the video. Again, I apologize if I was aggressive at any point in this video, but it's really important to me that this game succeeds, because Call of Duty is in a rough spot, and if Modern Warfare fails, I don't know what it means for Call of Duty in the future. I really have no idea what it means for Call of Duty in the future. So hopefully they integrate some of my changes. Hopefully the next week or this upcoming weekend they'll implement some of the changes we've asked for, as well as get an even bigger voice, because the Xbox and the PC guys will be able to share their opinions on the game. So hopefully, crossing my fingers that everything goes well and that they implement some of these changes and improve the game, because I think this game has a lot of potential, but we're a long way from making the game perfect and how I personally want it. But anyway, guys, let me know what your guys' thoughts are of the Modern Warfare beta down in the comment section. I'd be really interested in reading that and just seeing what you guys think of the game. But that is going to do it for the video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. Make sure to check out all my other recent Modern Warfare videos. I will probably have some new Black Ops 4 update videos later on today, and we'll have a few new Black Ops 4 new operation videos coming out very, very soon as well. But anyway, guys, I will see you guys all in some more Call of Duty videos very, very soon.